All right, some of us are in the middle of a long book, or maybe in the middle of a marathon, or in the middle of a really hard conversation, and we realize it's really hard to deal with the middle of what I'm going through, right? And the middle of a thing can be the hardest part to deal with. We're all in the middle of something and we don't always know what to do. And that's what I want to talk about today. My name's Brad and I am a Jesus follower. I'm a millennial. I'm a pastor. I'm a husband, a father, lots of other things. But my heart for this YouTube channel is to bring up questions that we have about our faith and about a God that's really hard to understand. And to do that together, I think it'd be really fun. So if you like this content, if it encourages you and helps you at all, I'm really grateful if you would like it, subscribe to it, maybe even share it with a friend, and that'd be really fun. So let's dive in today. We are talking about mastering the middle, because we're all in the middle of something, right? We know that we need to start strong, and in fact, it's really easy to start strong, isn't it? And at least fake it for a little while. And we know we're supposed to finish strong and cross the finish line and all those kinds of things. But what happens when we're in the middle and something began a long time ago and we can't see the finish line in sight and we're just stuck in the middle? It reminds me of a childhood memory I have, sitting on the couch in my living room at my parents' house. And my dad was a huge NASCAR fan. And he's watching this NASCAR race and it's like 400 laps. It's complete torture for a child, right? Because you're just stuck in the middle of this never ending thing. And of course, my dad falls asleep at like lap 50 and I try to change the channel. He wakes up, hey, I'm in the middle of watching that, right? And it's just torture. I can't see the end in sight. And sometimes life feels that way, right? It's the space of time between the beginning of something and the end that we don't always know how to manage. But here's what I want us to really process today, that you can't cross the finish line until you overcome the middle. And it really matters what happens in the middle of our story. And I think there's a really cool section of scripture in Mark chapter 6 that kind of covers this in a neat way. In Mark 6, starting in verse 47, it says, "Late that night, the disciples were in their boat in the middle of the lake, and Jesus was alone on land. He saw that they were in serious trouble, rowing hard and struggling against the wind and the waves." And life feels that way sometimes, right? Like we're rowing, but we're not getting anywhere. But at 3:00 in the morning, Jesus came toward them walking on the water. In verse 50, it says, "They were all terrified when they saw him, but Jesus spoke to them at once. 'Don't be afraid,' he said. 'Take courage. I am here.' And he climbed in the boat and the wind stopped." I find it really interesting that in the middle of the lake, in the middle of the night, in the middle of this storm, Jesus came to reveal himself to the disciples as a God who is with us in the middle. And whatever you're going through, I just imagine, how would things change? How would it feel different to us if we knew that Jesus was with us in the middle? What if Jesus showed up in the middle of the relationship tension that you have between you and someone you care about? Or what if he showed up in the middle of a hard financial time? What if Jesus showed up during your really demanding semester that you have going on, where you just don't know if you can really handle all the work that you have to do? What if Jesus showed up in the middle of this really hard season and climbed in the boat and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm here with you"? In fact, I think for some of us, we wouldn't even really need Jesus to totally take care of things. The way he did with the disciples, it says he got in the boat and the wind stopped. I think that we wouldn't even necessarily need Jesus to totally solve our financial issues or our relationship tension or whatever the thing you're in the middle of right now. As long as we knew he was with us, I think that would be a game changer, right? So I'm challenging us. In fact, I'm doing this same thing, taking a step today, and I invite you to take this step with me. Talk to God, either out loud or in your heart, and just say, God, it would mean a lot if you showed up in the middle of what I'm going through. If you climb in the boat with me and just said, "Don't worry, I'm here." I think it'd be neat if together we saw God show up in the middle. I hope that encourages you and makes it maybe just a little bit easier to think about a God we still have tons of questions about. And for sure, this doesn't answer all of your questions that you have about whatever you're in the middle of. But if you are encouraged and you want more content like this, I am going to do a second video, Master the Middle Part 2, and I'm going to dive a little deeper into this content. I invite you to watch that next video. If you like this content today, don't forget to like it. You can also subscribe and you can share it. I'm really grateful. Really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.